Hello everyone, happy Monday. I hope you're having a good start to the week. And of course that you had a good weekend. Nice. I've actually been busy. I've been it's so nice. I think I told everyone about how I had some personal issues that have been taking up pretty much all of my time lately. Hey Nadia, nice to see you. Sue, good to have you here. Nicole. I've been completely busy with personal stuff the last 3 weeks. Happy Monday. It is a happy Monday. And what was so annoying about that, or difficult about, was that it took all of my time. I had no extra time, and on top of that, I didn't have time to spend enough time with my family, and I didn't have time to do things I needed around, and it was just not fun. So now when that's kind of over, it's so nice because now I have much more time. So I have actually been working, trying to sort out. I've been thinking, because I did interviews with a few of you here and some other people who are, I'm not sure, some people don't actually type, but that aren't here either, about how to make the best possible course for people, what they really need. And what I came up to was that a lot of people suffer from some kind of pain. That they, like pretty much everyone who's here, have gone through deep emotional pain in one way or another. It can be trauma. I mean, most people today, we talk about trauma not as in the clinical form of trauma, but trauma in that we've experienced something really traumatic and that kind of affected us the rest of our lives, or it somehow triggered something. It makes something happen in our lives that means that from that point on, we now suffer from something, or we have a hard time dealing with certain things. And I really thought about what would be the best way to help people with that. And I do have quite a few ideas of how to make a meditation course about that. But the problem is that would be, first of all, a big, very wide course to make it applicable to everyone. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to make an introductory course, which I could take those lessons in there and help people with that. But what seemed even better would be, like a few of you have asked for, that video is good. Oh, thank you. Yeah. What few have asked for are seminars or more in-depth things. And I started talking to other people about that. Like, what is the best way to actually get, like, what would be the best way for you to be helped by this, to enjoy life more, and what would I enjoy doing more? And the thing I enjoy the most is to interact with you here on the live streams. I don't focus as much on my videos right now as I do on the live streams, because I just enjoy the live streams a lot. Hey, my friend Mama, nice to see you. And so the natural thing then would be some kind of forum or some kind of group Zoom calls where we kind of can meet each other, because I've met many of you and seen you and like had conversations, and that was really a nice experience. I like that a lot, and I would like to do more of that. So I have been working on creating a forum and different ways of having that forum. You can have forum with threads where you discuss things. You could have practice journals or places where you can share insights, celebrate, or when you have problems that come up, okay, this is difficult for me, and then you share. Because we do that here, but it's while I'm talking, so it's more I'm kind of the focus of the thing. But I think one of the most beneficial things is that everyone here is just nice people, and we kind of match each other very well. So it would be a nice way for people to interact, not just as me being it's like a satsang and everyone just listen to what I said. That's not what I want. I want it to be a community more. So some kind of forum seems like the natural way to do that. And within that forum, we could have workshops, or we could have seminars, or we could have weekend workshops, or like retreats, or lots of different things. But there would also be monthly Zoom meetings where everyone can jump on and you can discuss. So now it's more, I mean, we do communicate, but it would be more two ways. So people, you could jump on and like discuss something you wanted to discuss. So basically it would be like my coaching calls, but group coaching, and it would be more, not that we follow it. When I do coaching calls, I do we work on topics and then we work through several sessions. But here it would be more, I have this thing coming up, how would I actually work on this? And hey, Christian. And we could, first of all, I could discuss my points, but then other people could share as well. Because it's not that I sit with all the answers. I have a good way of seeing how you can approach it, but I haven't experienced everything, and there's lots of people who experience much more, so then people can share there. Oh, sorry, I realize I'm very far away from the microphone. I hope you hear me better now. That way people can share their experiences. So I have, just before now, I spent an hour doing a questionnaire where I'll ask people about what would you actually want from a forum, if that's something you even want. I mean, maybe it's not, but it just seems natural to me that the best way to make this more engaging and helpful for people would be a way to interact outside of just on the screen like we're doing now. And it would be a trial thing. We would do it for half a year just to see how it works out. I have a platform I really, really like, except for the other people that are there. It's more of a crypto tech community thing, and maybe that doesn't really mesh with what we do, but it has all the functions of forums and chats and live streams, and like it has a lot of functions that I really like. So I will be hopefully done with that until Thursday, or at the latest next Monday, and I'll post it on the channel, on the community. So I would love for everyone who has the time to actually go through and answer that. That would help a lot for me finding out if this is something that's worth pursuing, and also in what way it would be the most beneficial to you. Because ultimately, if it doesn't help anyone, then there's no point in doing it. I mean, not just because I think it's fun. That's not enough. Does that sound okay? Because I've had a lot of doing this. Has been so much fun. I'm like, okay, wait, we can do this, or we can actually have practice journals so people can because one of the things people struggle with when they meditate is to be held accountable. When you're sitting alone by yourself, it's difficult to keep up your practice because it's just you and you don't talk to anyone else. But here we have a group of people who are like-minded and we like each other. Oh, I'm happy to hear, Nadia. And we're kind of similar in a way of how we view the world, or we don't have to view the world the same way, but it just feels like we function well together. So it would be a good point to have a practice journal where you could write, okay, I've been meditating regularly this week and I ran into these things. Has anyone had that to deal with? And you can then share thoughts. That could be a really nice thing. We could have topics where you could just bring up and discuss and say, like, you know what, I've had this thing where I was struggling with my partner because when we have dishes lying on the sink, then I get angry and like she or he won't deal with it, and they think it's my responsibility or I think it's theirs, and then we start fighting about these things, and then we solved it by doing this or by looking at it from a different perspective. So it's a way of sharing insights and practices, because there is so much people run into and so much we can learn from each other, and I think that's I really, when I got going with this question, I'm like, oh yes, that's going to be so much fun. And it would be so nice for me because like I said, I enjoy this interaction the most of being here on YouTube. Sounds great. We'll be able to send a link to the community for those of us, mainly me, that are useless with IT. But yes. So the thing with all of this is I'm trying to find a way. I've been looking at many different options, and we were talking about Discord. I spoke to Mats quite a bit. About creating either a Facebook group. WhatsApp has communities also, and then there's some other paid services like Podia, Kajabi, and there's many different ways of doing this. I could even host my own server with a forum, but it just seems overcomplicated. So I've found one that you log into that, and then you kind of see everything within that. So you can go to chat, which is like now I call it the tea room. I will do the questionnaire, and within a week or two I will probably let people have a look and see what you think. And then my aim is that at the most within a month it should be up and running. But then there's a chat room, so basically that is kind of like here. You type things and it just kind of rolls up. But then you also you can create threads, which would be deeper conversations. And then, so there will be different sections. And then, like I said, monthly there will be included in this will be a Zoom call, which would basically like it is now, but I would see everyone, and everyone would be online at the same time. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to have a camera, but you could listen voice, and you can ask questions either by text or by talking, so it'd be more interactive. So I'm excited about that, and I hope that you'll help me when I'm done with the questionnaire, because that would make it easier to understand there's just so many options I can do. And I want to make it like Sue said. I want it to be, you should just be able to either download an app or go to a web page, and it should just be clear. You click here and then you have everything. Instead of having one site for the chat and then another site for the Zoom call and then another site for when I do the course or when we do the seminar, all this site can do everything. Like I said, it's more for younger people who are into cryptocurrency and tech bros. So, yeah, it will have to be a test. I hope it will work. And if it doesn't work, then we'll move somewhere else. Nice, Mindful Mama. Yeah, I am too. So it's been fun when I didn't have all these other things that I had to deal with. It was not things I really wanted to deal with. I was just forced to deal with them. And now instead I have time to do these things. So I feel really, happy with that. It has to be easy. And are you into crypticism? No, I'm not. I was interested in it. The thing is, it's just completely insane to me that it has no value except the value we give it, which is kind of the same with fiat currency, most currencies. JVB, you'll still do the weekly YouTube live stream in addition to absolutely, JVB. That's for sure. I will be doing the weekly live streams because I enjoy them so much. It might be in the future that I do just one and I'll do more in the forum if that becomes like a thing. I just don't know how to do this yet, and I don't know how engaged people will be. I mean, if people just interact every now and then there's not really much point. It's just, I thought I want to do something, and this is a fun way of doing something that I really believe is the best and easiest way for me to create something that's useful. And it's so easy with this site that I've found that workshops are really easy. We can take a topic and I can actually go more in depth in one specific topic. We could even take one specific thing that people deal with. So how do we deal with anxiety about something that has already happened, or trauma? Or how do we deal with stress related to confrontations with people we find difficult? Or how do we actually focus on observing the world around us, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method? That's much more that we can go into depth about that. And then that would simply be a new tag within this whole site. So that's what I'm, it sounds like a good idea. But no, I will not stop doing the live streams. It might change a little bit how I do them, but the way I see it now, I'll definitely be doing twice per week because it's just, like I said, it's the most, I almost said the most fun I have all week. That sounds bad to my fiance and our kids, but it's one of my highlights for sure. Anyone has anything else they've had? I mean, I just kind of, this was what's been on my mind. Does anyone else have anything else on their mind? I think I have. Yes, I have lots of barbecue fat on my glasses because I did barbecue today. Yeah, nice, JBB. Nice to have you here. Cryptocurrency. Oh yeah, I was talking about that. It's a crazy thing. I mean, it's valued. It's the same as certain companies like Tesla. It's valued so much that it's just unreasonable. I used to be into stocks before because I studied economy, and it seems like today companies or politicians don't get famous because of what they do or what they stand for or actual numbers or facts. It's more about how good you are at creating social media attention, and that's the same with YouTube, and that's one of the things I have against me. I think see, Nadia, my health anxiety has increased since being unwell. Are we talking fully blown what do you call it, hypochondria, or is it just that you're anxious about not being well? Hypochondria can be that can be difficult to deal with, but there can also be anxiety about not being well. Is it a worry about not surviving, or is it a worry about, okay, let's see. Is there any specific meditation for this? I think everything is going to harm me, or that I will get serious illness. So are we talking about bacteria and worry about germs, or are we talking about worry about getting into a car because you can come in an accident, or worry about going outside because someone could attack you and hurt you? if you're aware of those things, because for some people it's just general anxiety and you might not even think about it. So Nicole is saying, in a podcast, a monk said, it is good to have thoughts in meditation because every time you become aware of thoughts and bring the mind back, like flexing muscle, anyone who says they don't have thoughts in meditation, they're just lying, because you do. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. You can get to states where your mind is temporarily stopped, but that's it's not even that important. Nadia, like hypochondria, for example, going to a run, I had palpitations and I thought I would have a heart attack. Yeah, that's when it's more general like that, it's usually not as simple as just one specific thing. I think I did the video. I think you commented on that. I don't think I answered, but it's more difficult to deal with general anxiety that isn't super specific, that it's just wide and with everything, because then you can't really point at anything. And when it comes to hypochondria, basically what it is that it's a feeling of worry. It's a distortion. It's a fear of what if, and then you distort towards that. You just create a lot of pressure towards something that could possibly happen. And you could do this with, I could sit here and have the idea that, I remember I watched UFO, some Netflix series like about UFOs, and they really angled it as they're here, they're scary, and they abduct people, and they do weird stuff. And I was like, oh shit, they're here, they abduct people, and they do weird stuff. And then I was out, I do a lot of, not as much anymore, but I watch the stars a lot. I have a telescope and I photograph the sky. And I've been outside in the night sky since I was a kid. And now I was out, I was like, oh, they're here. They abduct people and they do scary stuff. And I started thinking like, oh my God, maybe I should be worried out here. Maybe there's like a UFO. So because I had seen that, I started having a distortion, a fear and worry towards that. And it's a similar thing you're talking about here. There's a situation where you worry about something that could possibly happen, and your mind kind of runs away with that. As far as a specific meditation to deal with it, there's two ways of looking at this. One would simply be to distract yourself. It's something that we tend to say, oh, you should never distract yourself, but actually, like, distracting yourself can be a really good thing to do. If things are overwhelming, it's not bad to temporarily distract yourself so you're not overwhelmed by it. That could be talking to someone, it could be watching a movie or something just to get your mind off it, doing something you really enjoy. Unfortunately, many people tend to turn to food, so we eat. I mean, I'm not saying you do that, but I'm saying, like, when we get nervous and anxious, we tend to eat because that changes our inner state. And so we feel better by taking some chocolate or something, which obviously is not good if you want to stay healthy. So distracting yourself can be a good thing. Other thing, really, it's the best thing is just to try to calm yourself down. And I think you don't like breathing meditation. That's true, right? I think I remember you saying that you don't like focusing on the breath, because that is a really good way to really calm yourself down. And especially when anxiety gets overwhelming, you do it and you really do the counting 1 to 8, 8 to 1 very strictly and firmly, because when you do it, then you kind of force yourself to not run away with your thoughts and you just will calm down. But like I said, I think I remember you saying you don't like the breathing, but did you listen to noises in your ear? Or did you look at the lights behind your eyes? Because that's a similar thing. Walking meditation, I would highly recommend. That will probably be one of the first workshops I do. When I start the forum, it will be a workshop on walking meditation, because I have a really simple and easy technique that you can do in your apartment, or you can do it outside. It just requires no space. It's called the 7-step lotus walking meditation. It was a Thai monk who taught this to me, and I do it all the time. And there's a lot of small nuances to it that makes it very easy to do and really, really good when you're suffering from anxiety. Thank you, the 5 4 3 2 1 method also. Yes, that's absolutely a good one. Yeah, because then you really come back to your senses. Listen to noise and focus on that. So that then you could try some. I mean, I do have some of my earlier videos are actually guided meditations. You can listen to some of them. I think one of them is a body scan, but I don't have any. No, otherwise just look for online. There's like all these. You can try the binaural beats stuff and like bells and stuff, but I never really found the binaural beats to do much. There's a lot of people who say it's so amazing, but I mean, I never found it to be super useful. And I haven't spoken to people who like had their minds blown long term. Short term, absolutely, but long term, yeah. But try it and see if that works, because if you listen to sounds, it can be anything. I used to listen to Harry Potter books while I was meditating. I've listened to everything. So I find walking meditation is great for me, even if you're in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I do walking meditation every evening indoors. Binaural beats. So binaural beats is you basically have and you have different beats. You listen to it with headphones, and it has different sounds that is supposed to harmonize the brain halves. There's free stuff on YouTube. I think the big one, I had a course once that I got from someone, the Monroe Institute, I think it was, and they have basically like a course you do. There's also the Silva method, which is also quite attuned meditation techniques specific for specific things. Like I said, I found in the beginning that was useful, but the more I practiced, I found it just to be more of a crutch than help me. Some people like them and they use them like for decades. So then, obviously, if it works, then it works. But search for binaural beats on YouTube. You could also listen to something that just makes you kind of focus. There's those. I like the. Is it handpan? You know, those big, looks like a cymbal, and they have like different raised things, and they just play music on those, and it's very relaxing. So anything that you can use since you don't have the breath to feel, you can then use something that engages you, and just see if that works. And generally speaking, just calming down when the anxiety gets overwhelming. I will think more about that, but it's a long process to work with that. I have someone close to me who suffers from hypochondria as well, and it takes time. It does get better with time, and I think there's always something underlying, not just the illness. It's something else kind of many times behind it also. Cool. So for those of you new, we usually have a little chat like this before, and then after we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. After that, today's Monday, so we'll have a guided meditation. And then after that, if there's any more questions, we'll talk about something else after. Otherwise, we all sleep well. So for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, what we try to do is we're trying to become, how should I explain this? We're trying to get back to our senses, to become one with our senses. We're so used to feeling that I am here and I'm seeing out there, or I am here and I'm hearing out there, instead of just being the hearing, just being the seeing. In other words, there's no distance between you and the outside world, meaning we feel I am separate from this. When you start really observing your senses and being in your senses, then all these distortion, all this anxiety, it literally disappears. It's not there. The problem is that we feel that it's so important what happens inside that we cannot engage fully with the outside world. In not just case when we have anxiety about this, it probably means that if you go outside, say to a supermarket, and there's lots of people coughing, let's say something else. Let's say a band you really enjoy, like the Beatles are resurrected and they are giving a show. I mean, I would love to go see the Beatles live. And then you go there, but people are coughing. They're coughing everywhere, and then you see they have like snotty noses. You would very likely not be able to engage with your reality, because your inner state of fear and worry would so distract you from your senses that you wouldn't be able to enjoy what you were seeing. So we're trying to bring our senses to the state that's more similar to being on vacation, to actually going on a concert or doing something that really engages you with reality, making love. being in a place where you feel very comfortable or new. And I left the supermarket this weekend because I understand you, absolutely, and they're yeah. You can also work with that directly. I won't go into that now, but we'll talk more about that later. So we're trying to become more with our senses, and we do this when we are on vacation, when we go to like a concert, or when we watch beautiful art, or we see something that makes us go, whoa, and you see that painting and go, this is incredible, I've never seen anything like this. Or you listen to a song and you go, wow, that's the most beautiful song I've ever heard. And then you listen to it again, or you watch the thing again the day after, and like, wow, that's strange. It was so special yesterday, but today it's not there. It's because it wasn't the painting or the song that was giving you this feeling. It was that you were allowing yourself to fully experience the world around you. So the way we do this is by really viewing things without an emotional connection. We just try to see them as a child would. So, for instance, this one. When I watch this one, I know this is a ruler. I know it's a architectural ruler that was used on a table with all those rulers, and they would draw buildings and stuff. And I know what this is, and I could just say, oh, I know this one. It's an old one, junk. It was going to be thrown away, so it has no value. But if I look at this and see it as a child would, I would see, oh, look at this. This is interesting. There's a slanted here, and then it goes up here. There's all this text here. There's these kind of, this is interesting. What is this for? That's not like normal. And then you watch this one, and there's all these numbers, and I can see this text. I can feel the rivets on the numbers here. And I can feel the backside. Oh, it's cold here. In other words, we really try to see the details, and by going into the details, we forget about the fact that we actually know what this is. And I see the reflections. This is a beautiful thing to look at. And things like this, like I don't know if you can see that, but there's scratches and marks. These are the kind of things they would say, oh, it's not beautiful because it's so old. But this becomes really interesting to look at, especially bark on trees or a door, like an old door. In India, I remember I used to photograph locks and padlocks because they're just so beautiful. So really becoming engaged with the things you look at. And not that you lobotomize yourself or make yourself dumb and saying like, oh, I don't know what this is. This doesn't exist. No, it's here. I know it's a ruler. We're not trying to trick our minds. What we're trying to do is to view it as if though we were children who didn't know what it was, even though we do know what it is. So, a ruler. And you say them out aloud for yourself, wherever you are, as a way to really stop and focus on that thing. I can see a box of pills. A jar, maybe. I can see a toilet paper roll. I see metal thread. All of these things, I'm looking at the reflections, the curvature, the structure, the texture of it, and just the line, seeing what it looks like. I can see a telephoto lens. It's very easy for me to, when I look at the telephoto, go, oh, I know what that is. That's for my old Nikon camera. I know the brand. I know the value of it. I know what it's used for. I know what I photograph with it. But it's easy to get into that instead of just saying, oh, it's black. It's like this gold ring around it. There's a light coming up, which makes it look like some kind of commercial. And then there's a foot there, and there's curvature, and that looks a little bit broken. There's so much more detail and stuff in things than we normally think about. So that was 5 things I could see. Next we do 4 things that we can feel. So I can feel itching on my neck. It's like there's an insect, or maybe it's just a piece of hair, kind of. I don't think it's an insect, but I can feel it. And I also look at, is there any distortion towards that, or can I just feel what that is? Oh, that's an interesting sensation. Oh, now it's kind of tingling and going up. And then I can scratch that, and oh, there was no cockroach there. It was just an itch. I can feel, what does it feel like to scratch? and really become engaged with your reality, I can feel this baton for my bell, which I almost didn't find because my kids were playing here before and they had hidden it somewhere, but fortunately I found it. And it's easy also here to go into observing, because this is so fascinating to look at, so then I forget to feel it. We're simply not used to fully experience the world around us at the same time, because we're so preoccupied with having an emotional reaction to it. Oh, this is safe, this is not safe, I know what this is, I like it, I don't like it, I want it, I don't want it, I want it to be over there, not here, it should be like this, not like that. Oh, it's the wrong kind, I should have another. In other words, we have a really hard time just being alive and accepting reality as it is. And I feel the heat of my tea in this cup. Oh, and it's very glossy, slippery even. I can't even hold on to this. It feels like I'm just going to drop it because it's so slippery right now. Oh, that's why they have this. That's smart. That was 4 things that I could feel. Next we take 3 things that we can hear. I hear a clonking sound because there's a wind outside and there's something blowing against the office. I can hear our hens. They're sitting right outside the office. I can hear the wind outside. It's blowing. Same here when you're listening. Listen for the details within the sounds. Not just the sound, but actually there's so much more nuance to sounds. Final 2, we try to smell things. 2 things that we can smell. I smell strawberry. I think it's chewing gum. I smell a slight scent of sweat or just perspiration. Finally, one thing that we can taste. It's like an earthy flavor. It must be the tea I drank before. So I want you to put yourself in a comfortable situation where you can sit for the next 20 minutes. That could be sitting cross-legged, but it could also be sitting in a chair. It could even be lying down or standing up, or even walking if you're able to do so safely. And while you do this, bring your awareness back to your breath. Or if you find the breath uncomfortable, then use any of the other things that you can focus on, such as the sounds in your ears or the colors behind your eyelids. There's many ways of doing meditation, but for now, if you're able to, just bring your awareness to your breath and start noticing how breath is happening inside of you. How breath is going in and going out, and in and out. It's easy when we sit down to be distracted. It's easy to believe that you're not good at this, that everyone else is so much better, and well, there's probably no point in you even trying because your mind is so distracted. You have all these thoughts running around, and surely when I'm meditating, I shouldn't have any thoughts, you might think. But for this meditation, do your best to recalibrate. This is not about stopping your thoughts. This isn't even about calming yourself down. This is only about becoming aware of your breath. The only thing you're trying to do is to over and over and over again keep coming back to your breath, to be aware of breath happening. In fact, a sign that you're doing something right is that you noticed over and over and over again that you drift off into your thoughts, you get caught up in reasoning about something or worrying about something. And every time you do that, that's success. Every time you notice that you've drifted off, that's success. It means that you became aware. It means that you were able to stop that strong thought process, those strong distortions that creates those thought processes, and come back to your breath. It's also good to see that this is not something you get in a session. You might have a sitting session that feels amazing and everything just works and you have no thoughts distracting you. You're just able to follow the breath and you think, I've got it. Now I'm done. I'm enlightened. And then the next time you sit down, your thoughts are all over the place and you can't even focus on your breath for 5 seconds because it's so painful. It's so physically difficult to observe the breath. This is absolutely natural and normal. This is how it is. It's something you will do for a very long time, and the more you do it, the more you'll get used to coming back over and over. And the more you get used to coming back over and over, the more you'll see that it doesn't matter that your mind drifts away. It doesn't matter that you're distracted or that you have difficult thoughts. Because right now, you are working on and doing your best to come back to being here, to being with your life experience and not caught up in your life story. And for most of you here, you're at least 25, 30, or 20 years old. Or in my case, an old man, 47. If it took me 47 years to mess up my distortions and my connections and mind this much, it would probably take another 47 years to deconstruct all of that. Fortunately for me, I started when I was around 30, so I'm a little bit along the way. But bring that sense of ease, of acceptance, of forgivingness, of realizing that it's okay. You can't fail at this. In fact, when you notice that you failed, that's success. Every time that you drift off into your thoughts is not actually failure. It's success when you notice it again. To make this a little bit easier, we will focus on the breath by counting it. We'll count from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. And I'll do it together with you the first time, and then you can do it by yourself. So breathing in and out. 1. In and out. 2. In and out. 3. In and out. 4. in and out. 5, in and out. 6, in and out. 7, in and out. 8, in and out. 7, in and out. 6, in and out. 5, in and out. 4, in and out. 3, in and out. 2, in and out. 1. Keep counting your breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1 as you breathe in and out. 1, in and out. If you're sitting and you have a general anxiety or a general fear that keeps popping up, maybe it's something that pertains to a specific thing that happened, but it's a little bit diffuse. Maybe it's a wide situation that is carrying on for a long period of time. That makes it more difficult to deal with than something that is acute and specific. And that's because the effects of that thing is not felt immediately. The outcome is uncertain and can change. One of the ways to use this to your advantage is to feel how uncomfortable it is to feel this. Let's say I have a worry about something that's going on in my life right now. I'm worrying about, let's say I have a test for my herniated disc in my neck. And I'm worried about that the MRI is going to show that my discs have collapsed completely, and that's why I had these issues with my neck lately. Now, we're not trying to solve the problem or the situation. What we're trying to do is solve the feeling of it being a problem, which might sound strange, because it sounds obvious that obviously if my neck is bad, I should feel bad. But that's not true, and that's what we're trying to look at. So, if I feel, oh, my 3 herniated discs in my neck have collapsed completely, and that means that I might be an invalid, I might not be able to function anymore, I'll have to start eating so many painkillers and muscle relaxants and stuff that is going to kill me in and of itself. If I feel that fear, that distortion, that is a very strong sense of self. It's a strong sense of me. And the thing that does is that it shows me how painful it is to carry around this concentrated lump that I identify with as me. And to see the opposite of that is easy when you can actually get that feeling, because then you can say, what would it feel like if this situation was completely resolved? If tomorrow I went to the MRI and it said, oh, actually no problem at all. Your discs have healed completely, and the only thing you're feeling is because you overstrained your muscles. And I would go, oh, that is nice. Actually, that feels nice when I think about it. The relief that I'm feeling is not because of reality. It's just because I changed my perspective. And what that shows you is that you don't need to feel bad because of reality. You don't need to punish yourself because of your fear. You can just as easily shift it and choose to feel good. And as soon as you do, you'll go, oh, but wait a minute, it's not actually true. I haven't done the MRI yet, so it could be that it's actually bad. I should probably feel bad a bit more. And then you go back to feeling bad, and you feel the denseness, the contraction, the fear, the worry, the pain of carrying a strong sense of self. And then you go, well, this sucks. It's kind of a silly thing to do, because I know that I can shift my focus and feel the opposite. And by doing this over and over, you will break down that bond that makes us all believe that reality somehow dictates our inner state. That what happens on the outside or inside determines how we're supposed to feel. So if you have such a situation, ask yourself, what would it feel like if this situation was completely resolved? Just for now, for the next few minutes that's left of the meditation, just feel what it would feel like if that situation was resolved, if it was no longer anything you had to worry about. And then sit in that feeling of effortless awareness of being without having a strong sense of anyone being there, and see what that feels like. You can choose if you want to keep on sitting with your eyes closed, or you can open your eyes, have a cup of tea. If you have any questions or something you'd like to share, feel free to do so now. I will be here for a little bit longer. I'm curious, did anyone try shifting your perspective on if you had an issue? What does it feel like if that was resolved? Hey Steven, nice to see you. You're welcome. Did anyone try to see what it feels like if I have this issue, and then just the feeling, what would this feel like if this was completely resolved? Nadia, I felt almost euphoric at the end of the meditation. Thank you. You're welcome. It's always nice to feel good after meditation. It always is. Even though, like I always say, some of the best ones are the ones where it's not. But you can also have this feeling when you let go of something, when there's like all this tension. When you let go of that, it can feel almost euphoric, like you say. It's just such a relief. And that is because going around being tense, feeling this strong sense of like contraction is painful. I spoke 2 or 3 times ago how even feeling good, feeling happy, doing things that we believe makes us feel happy. In other words, I get success, or I get a good adrenaline kick or something. Even that is in and of itself painful, but there's no point in starting to take that away. Don't do that. In other words, we work with these difficult things and we try to become looser, more relaxed, and learning to just enjoy being here. See, Nicole, thank you, Martin. It's funny that just the mindset changes everything. Yeah, it is. It's such a brain F, like they say. It messes with your mind when you realize, wait a minute, I know that I can choose this, but God, I cannot do it, even though I know it's possible. Because, well, you've seen now, if you tried this, that, yeah, I don't have to feel bad just because something happens on the outside or inside that we'd consider bad. But just because you know that doesn't mean you're able to do that. That's why it takes practice. That's why we do the meditation. That's why I do all these small exercises and tell you to do things, so that you kind of shift and push against those things. And gradually, this idea that you've been raised with, or society tells you, and like every single advertisement you see basically tells you that you should feel bad because what they're doing in there in the advertisement, you don't have that. But you know what? Here you go. Here's a product, and then you will have that. They're trying to make us feel bad so that we will buy things or do things that they want us to do. And I'm not talking about some kind of conspiracy or the Illuminati controlling us. It's just how marketing works. And it messes with our minds. All social media does it. It makes you feel bad so that you will scroll, so that you will watch more. And realizing this, there comes a point where you make an active choice in that, I don't want to do this anymore. And you start resisting or start not following that. And that's inherently painful, but it's also very enjoyable when you're able to do it. Nadia, it felt good to shift my perspective, to let go of being scared of illness, pain, death. Yeah, I'm happy to. And don't be disappointed if tomorrow it feels like it did before when it's difficult, because every time you break that bond, it will feel, I'm not saying it's going to feel bad tomorrow, I'm just saying don't feel like, oh, it was just a failure. Because it's like this. It goes up and down as it gets better and better. Me and my fiance, we joke, we're like, yeah, our mood is like this. This small bumps is so even. Like, no, it's not. You go up and down, and it goes up and down, and then you learn to deal with it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can feel now. And being in a relationship is amazing for helping you see when you're having these strong distortions take you over, because the other person will show you if you're attuned to them, and it can be a really good way of practicing. JVB, I've found myself obsessing over someone. I mean, I'm not obsessing like for days, but I do find myself constantly thinking about someone for a lengthy time. How do I overcome this attachment? I think about my fiance like a lot, like all the time. I can't stop thinking about her. And that's not really a problem, because sorry, I didn't mean it that way. My point was that there's nothing inherently bad with obsessing over someone. What becomes bad is when you want something that you cannot have, or someone you cannot have, or that's not actually in your life. And it starts becoming something that you believe that if I could only have that thing, then I will be happy. Meaning that you believe that if I could just have this person in my life, then I will feel happy. The thing when you get in a relationship is that in the beginning, that tends to burn very hard, very quick. And you super in love, and then people like, oh, everything is amazing. And then when that disappears, for many people, they're not then able to translate that into long-term love or a long-term relationship, because they're so used to having this fire. But if you're able to view the other person as not someone who's going to save you, someone who's going to make you whole, someone who's going to change your life, but just someone you enjoy being with. I think it was Sting. Yeah, it was Sting who said something. I can't remember exactly, but it's such this beautiful thing. He said, the reason I'm so happy in my marriage with my wife is that it's because I genuinely like being around her. I genuinely like her as a person. And I think we kind of miss that so many times because we believe it's supposed to be this powerful love and this strong obsession and these powerful feelings, and you go, wow, explosions. Whereas in fact, if you want to have a long-term relationship, it should be something where you really enjoy them as a person. So meaning that when I said I think about my fiancée a lot, I don't obsess over her. I don't believe that if I didn't have her in my life would be miserable, it would be terrible. My life feels much better with her in my life, and she helps me in so many ways. And I do enjoy her company. I do enjoy having discussions. And I've learned to enjoy being with her as not just as someone who gives me something, but actually someone who is just a genuinely nice person who I like being around. And we can just sit in the evenings and just kind of read a book together, or discuss things, or talk to each other, or we can be intimate. Like there's so much more than obsession. And so when you're obsessed about someone, it's easy to then focus on just that part. And if you can kind of look past that and see, is this someone you actually like as a person, or are you just obsessing over them because of their looks, or because of something they do, because of how other people view him or her, or because of her status on social media? Whatever it is it actually someone you would enjoy being with? And if it is, well, then just talk to him or her and see what they're like, and try. And that requires you to be vulnerable, open, willing to feel this feeling of oh my goodness, I'm putting myself out there. And I know it's easy for me to say now that I'm in a long-term relationship, but if I wouldn't be, it would be the same thing. I wouldn't go up to someone and think, oh, I want them to, I don't need something from them. In other words, I wouldn't go up to someone and say, like, okay, I need you to fix me. I would feel good, and I would go up to them and say, hey, you look like an interesting person. And then if they'd go like, oh, you're an idiot, like, oh, well, obviously they weren't someone I actually wanted to spend time with. So it's looking at that feeling of what it is that you believe you're going to get from, I think you mentioned there was a girl before some time when you had someone else. What is it you believe they're going to give you? What is it you believe they're going to make you feel that you can't feel right now? And is that actually true? I would go at it from that perspective and start looking at that and breaking it down. And also, if I remember, you were around 20-ish, early 20 or something like that. And it really is something that changes with age. Hormones and how you view the world. When you have children, it's going to change completely. Oh my goodness, a lot of people get together because of passion, and then they have kids and they're like, oh my goodness, we cannot work together. It's a really bad idea because they don't share the same ideas of how to raise your kids. And like, what are you going to do with someone if they're just good looking when you need to run a household? Economy, keeping it clean, making sure that everything functions, making sure the kids go to bed. There's a lot more things that kind of come hopefully naturally to you as the relationship progresses. So yeah, I would start questioning and looking at those things and see if that makes you see it differently. But there's nothing wrong with thinking a lot about someone if you're in love, and don't fight it. Don't think like, okay, he said I shouldn't obsess, and I shouldn't believe they're going to fix me, and so I'm going to push that down. Or no, you just feel it. If you believe that, feel it and look at it. Let it come up. Don't be afraid of your worries. Of your feelings. It's just a feeling, and it's okay. I felt that so much. I'm probably much worse than you are. Trust me, I was a hopeless, romantic in the sense of I like tragedy, kind of. I like the hopeless romantic who didn't get to they what. Like, I was terrible when I was younger, and it caused me so much suffering. I'm 31. Oh my goodness, I thought you were 21. What? I'm confusing you with someone else. Sorry about that, but still 31. You had lots of time left to go through that. No offense. Did that help, JVB? Make it clear? Stephen, is life about letting go of all attachments? You are so correct about everything. Letting go of all attachments. I don't like the term attachment because it has this feeling of, I don't care about those things. I shouldn't care about the world. Attachments in the sense that they determine your happiness, yes, that would be, from the perspective of what we're trying to do here, then that would be, yes, that's one of the main things we're trying to do. The idea that you need the world outside or inside to be a specific way for you to enjoy this amazing gift we have, which is being alive. This amazing gift we have of just being here. Imagine how many people would love to be you, to be where you are. There's millions, if not billions of people who would love to be in the exact same seat you are, no matter what that seat is, because there's always someone else who has it worse, who have something different, and everyone wants it to be different than what it is. We make it so difficult to enjoy our lives, and we ruin the whole experience because we believe it should be different than what it is. So really, yes, a big part of it is the attachment to the idea that life has to be a specific way for us to allow ourselves to enjoy it, when you could just enjoy it now. And when you enjoy being alive, then you change it into whatever you want it to be. And that's my problem with saying attachment, because usually when people say that, they say, I don't care about the outcome of anything. I don't have any preference. And they try so hard to find the words to say, I don't care in the right way, kind of, instead of just seeing that it just means it doesn't have to be a specific way. And if I'm correct about everything, hopefully I'm correct about many things, but probably not about everything. I mean, absolutely not about everything. Just ask my fiancée, she'll tell you I'm wrong about most things. As always, absolutely fantastic talking to everyone. And I'm looking forward to like I said, from about a month from now, I should have the forum up and running. And I'll hopefully for Thursday or next week, I'll have the questionnaires, and I would love it if you answered it, as many as possible. And I'll keep on working and then create something that we can all join and have fun on together. Thank you, everyone. I wish you a pleasant week, and I hope you're able to keep on enjoying your week until we meet again on Thursday.